Good morning and welcome. My name is Michael Bartlett, Metaphysical Astrology, and welcome to my monthly astrological forecast. Happy New Year. I think many of us are happy to look at 2022 in the rearview mirror. The last few years have been quite something, and the next few years are not going to be all that much easier either, but we'll break down each of the months as we go through the year, and happy to discuss it with you guys. First and foremost, I want to thank Christine Cianci, who was the one who painted all of our figures. You can see just here to my left, over here, the figure, Astro Theater figures. She hand painted all of them in oil, did a beautiful job. You can reach her or see her other work at cianciart.com. So we began January with 3 planets already in retrograde positions. We have Mercury in Capricorn, which goes direct on the 19th of January. We have Mars in Gemini, which is going direct on the 12th of January. And then we have, of course, Uranus in Taurus, which will go direct on the 22nd of January. So these 3 activities are really what's going on. So as we know, Mercury just went into retrograde just a few days ago here in December. These Mercury in Capricorn, this is timing around business issues and taking care of things that need to be done. It's practical, pragmatic. The things that you've not taken care of for a long time around the household, work-wise, getting your taxes ready, getting your paperwork all in line. These are all things that are really great to do while Mercury is in retrograde. Mars retrograde in Gemini is a really challenging thing. Mars has been spending quite a long time, longer than average in a sign here in Gemini. Mutable Mars, it forces us into this kind of inward movement thing. I think we can get stuck in a lot of worry or movements that necessarily don't get us anywhere. We can, like, that thing where you go into another room and you're like, what did I come into this room for? I think a lot of that kind of experiences are going to be had. And of course, Uranus and Taurus, we've been having that for about 6 months now. This Uranus is a huge shift in Taurian energy. Uranus is about shock, change, and evolution. Taurus is about things being staid and true and kind of a little bit more on the stubborn side, the set side. It's a fixed sign. So when we have Uranus here in Taurus, we're talking about a shaking up of the material world. I think that that Mercury over here, which is a lower octave of Uranus, of course, operating in another Earth sign in Capricorn, is helping us to really kind of slow things down a bit. But we like to say when planets are in retrograde, we want to use words that begin with RE, just like the beginning of retrograde. Words like rest, recuperate, review, reconsider, revisit, recommunicate, anything that starts with an RE word. And what's really exciting this year, usually for the past few years, we've been having this period in December and into January. But right now, for the next few years, we're going to be having January, from January 22nd until the 21st of April, we will have no planets in retrograde position. That's pretty remarkable. This means that from the 22nd of January until the 21st of April, that if there are plans and things that you're thinking of launching, things that you're thinking of doing, it's a really great time to start. That means that all the planets are moving from our viewpoint here on the Earth as a forward motion. So these are things like, it's what we call planets they're going direct. So that means that it's easier for us to do things that require us to be direct about things. So all that energy is going to be going good. On the 21st of April will be the next time a planet will go in retrograde, and will be Mercury in the sign of Taurus. And by the way, if you visit my website at coremichael.com and sign up for my mailing list, you'll get my 2023 retrograde calendar. We'll show each of the planets and the signs wearing their clothing from the Astro Theater imagery throughout the year, showing you what the periods are when these planets are going to be in their retrograde position. Really nice overview. And again, it's free if you just sign up. No other obligation, just if you want to keep track of what it is that I'm doing and saying. I'm going to be doing this monthly forecast just before each month, and be adding some other things as well on there. Right now I have on my YouTube channel here, I have also my talk about Pluto and the shift in March just coming up for a generational change. Also, if you like what I'm doing here, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, please share with your friends. We're all in this together. The more information we have to help us live our lives in a better way, the better. And I'm here to be of service. So thank you. All right, we start January 1st off with a whole gang in the sign of Capricorn. We've got the Sun, Mercury, Pluto, and Venus all in Capricorn. But the real key thing that's going on the 1st of January is a specific conjunction between Venus and Pluto. Pluto has a way of ripping away things that are no longer necessary, things that are that we kind of hold on to for habit's sake maybe, or because we think we should or we need to. But Pluto kind of comes along and cleans things up. So look at seeing what you might be reformulating with your values, with your love, with your relationships, especially business oriented. As you can see, they're all here in the business office. They're all wearing judges' uniforms with their gavels. They're dressed in the English parliamentary or solicitor wig and gown. So these are people of power. These are people who make things happen. Pluto, of course, has been here for quite some time. In March, it's going to be moving into Aquarius. As I said before, it's going to make a huge shift. But for right now, we're still dealing with it in Capricorn. It's asking us to really review the ways in which we look at things in wherever you have Capricorn in your chart. Now, anyone who has any cardinal planets, if you have any planets in the sign of Aries, Libra, or I'm missing the last one, Cancer, you will also be activated by these by square and opposition. On the 2nd of January, that Sun in Capricorn is going to be squaring Chiron, this in Aries. So these can be issues around like how we perceive ourselves, how we see ourselves. What is it that we don't want to look at? Is there a wart growing somewhere in our body that we don't like and we don't want to deal with? Or is there some irritation of relationship or personality thing that's going on in our lives? Could be family issues, could be whatever that wound is or that thing that's been bothering us for a long time that isn't resolved. It can be one of those days where we can get just a little bit of a rub. On the 3rd of January, we have Venus leaving Capricorn and moving into the sign of Aquarius. This is going to give both signs, of course, Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn. So Venus is still going to have a little bit more of that kind of business-oriented approach, very kind of strict, a little stricter, a little more duty-oriented. But when Venus is in Aquarius, we can see, as you can tell by her outfit, she's here to share more ideas about right human relationship. How can we all get along? These are the important things when Venus is in Aquarius. On the 7th of January, we have, of course, since Venus has moved out, we have Pluto here at the end of the sign, and we have a conjunction with the Sun and Mercury. Of course, Sun and Mercury have a close relationship all the time. They're only, I think, within 10 or 15 degrees of one another at all times. So this is not an uncommon situation. But what it is it's one of those things where the ways in which we speak, communicate, move, and process are really kind of blown open by the rays of the sun. We talk about this as being a kazemi, where it's like if you were to try and look at Mercury, you couldn't, because you got this big white light of the sun, well, yellow, orangey, reddish, yellow, white energy. And then you have this little small teeny itty bitty planet called Mercury in front of it. There's no way you'd be able to see that. It's like a little gnat in front of a light bulb. So basically the mercurial energies are completely engulfed by sun. And so they're irradiated. Radiation from the sun is just illuminating the ways in which we take care of things. So of course, Mercury is still in retrograde. This is that Mercury backing up onto the sun. So, what are the things that you've, again, like we talked about a few moments ago, what is it that you've been putting off? What are the things you need to take care of? These things are going to really kind of come to light on the 7th of January, especially if a lot of planets in Capricorn. Then that Mercury is going to move up into position where it's going to also be squaring Chiron. This is on the 11th of January. This can be a time of when it's a little difficult to share things. It might be a little touchy or instinctual. Chiron in Aries is it's a very knee-jerk reaction. It's very much wants to get to the root of things and find out what it is. The sword's ready. Let's find out what the truth is underneath. That Mercury in there is going to be asking questions. What's going on here? Why is this acting this way? And hopefully a good time to get down to the root of things. If you're having issues with a business partner or work associate, it'd be a good time to, things are probably going to come up. So what I would say, it's really time to address it clearly and concisely and talk about what one's needs are and possible solutions rather than focusing on the wound that can continually get activated. Because what happens a lot of times with Chiron is we can have these issues where the wound is kicked back and forth. We can project it on the other person and people just, play that game of projecting it back and forth. On the 12th of January, as we talked before, Mercury's been going and doing this retrograde motion for the last 3 weeks. It will be going into a direct motion. Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. Mercury's been retrograde. It's going to be coming into this place of wanting to find out I am so sorry about that. I realized when I was talking that I completely put the wrong slide up here. I always think about Gemini. Mercury being in Gemini, and of course, Mercury is in Capricorn, having been doing the retrograde motion for this time. On the 12th of January, we'll be going into a forward motion. This would be a time to get things done. If you're wanting to launch something, you're wanting to communicate about things, signing business contracts, of course, would be a lot more suitable after the 12th of January. We also talk about Mercury being in its shadow, meaning that it's in the period of, it's in the degrees of placement where it was when it did its retrograde. So it takes a little while for it to get out of that placement. So still a really good time to be reviewing things, checking things, a good time for research, of course, finding out what the truth is behind something. The 15th of January, we have a square between Uranus and Taurus and Venus in Aquarius. Venus rules Taurus, so that makes it a little less likely, but you can tell this might be a good time to review your finances. What is the truth of how you've been handling your money, putting it away? You're being a little lazy, on the Taurian side, kicking back on the sofa a little bit too much and haven't been working hard enough to put the money away. Or if you want to launch into some new idea of coming forward with something that's a lot more enlightening for humanity. These things are, kind of being at odds with one another. It also can mean an abrupt shock or change in our relationships or in our value systems, coming to realization, understanding of something that we maybe didn't see before. On the 18th of January, we have all right, that's when I did that. I don't know why I have it that way. Mercury is going direct on the 18th of January. And then we have a Sun and Pluto conjunction. Oh, that's right, because right, we just talked about the Mercury going retrograde. Then we have on the 18th, we have Sun and Pluto conjunct one another. This is literally a powerful combination. Sun is the star for our solar system. Pluto is that farthest out planet that we use in astrology to view things that has compelling, powerful placement in our charts and shows up very strongly wherever it is. With the Sun being there, this can be like something very large and transformational coming into view, things that maybe have been put off for a certain amount of time that really just have to be dealt with and have to be aligned. Be a good time for that. The 21st of January, we have the Sun leaving Capricorn, leaving the side of Pluto and moving into the lofty association-oriented grouping of Aquarius, where the motto is, we love humanity, but we might not like people. It's learning to be impersonal to the personal and personal to the impersonal. The Sun is in its detriment in Aquarius, and therefore it is not seen as a great placement for the Sun. I think the Sun in Aquarius is one. Detriments and falls, I really believe, from the esoteric standpoint, have to do with what our ego is. And so those of us who have Sun in Aquarius, it's a placement of learning how to not have that ego orientation. Because, of course, right across from Aquarius is the sign Leo, ruled by the Sun. So when it's in its rulership, it's in detriment. On the other side or fall, I get the two confused, I'm sorry. But it's just usually kind of considered to be a negative understanding. So the Sun joins Venus and Saturn in Aquarius. This is really lovely because Saturn rules Aquarius. The Sun's in there shedding its light, saying, hey, you guys, let's find ways to make things work. Venus is our values. Saturn is our structures and our rules. This is a really great time. It'll be interesting to see what starts happening here in the United States with our politicians. A lot of shakeup and changes, of course, between our senators, our Republicans, and our Democrats in the House and the Senate, with lots of things playing out. We're still really unsure of who has a majority. But hopefully what will start to happen is something that I'm really promoting, which is that our politicians and our media need to stop creating such a separation between us, giving us all this sense that everyone else is so much other, and help us to understand that we are all human beings. We're all brothers and sisters on this world. And if we start acting like we're part of one big family, we might have a very different experience here on Earth. That is the joy and the promise that all this Aquarius energy has. And of course, in March, as Pluto's going to be moving over and joining Aquarius as well. Of course, by that time, Sun and Venus will have moved on, as well as Saturn. 22nd of January, as we talked about already, that Uranus is going to be going direct finally in Taurus. That's going to feel really good. Taurus has to do with forms, as you can see here on this imagery, bank vault gold, the golden calf lounging on the sofa, eating grapes and drinking wine out of a gold goblet. Taurus tends to like luxury. The earth signs are all about the bounty of what the earth has to offer. These new forms have to do with AI, robotics, changes in the ways we handle our food supplies. I'd even say, you know, there could be aspects, although I think maybe probably a little bit more on Virgo side with it, but with Uranus and Taurus, I think, you know, it's another one of those element things that has to do with what's going here on the planet as far as climate change as well. On the 23rd of January, we have a Saturn-Venus conjunction. This is really great time if you're wanting to set up some rules, set up some structures. If you want to set up some intentions, review your intentions that you set up from January 1st for a new year, for what you want to do for the year, review it, see the things you can actually accomplish, be realistic. One of the beautiful things about Aquarius is there's a periscopic action. All the air signs have a little bit, but Aquarius has it the most, which means being able to step back a little bit, which we learn in Libra. Aquarius then has that ability to kind of like rise above it all, look at things from a higher standpoint. So when Saturn and Venus are there together, it's like, okay, what are the things that have worked before in the past? What are my values and my relationships like? And are they still serving me today? And how do I move forward in a way that if these relationships to be adjusted, of course, we've been dealing with all this Pluto energy that's going on. You know, what relationships need to be shifted and changed in my life? Do I need to change the way I have my relationship with work, my relationship with home, relationship with family, relationship with friends, relationship with hobbies? These sorts of things are all going to be coming up, and great time to restructure and choose new approaches. On the 27th of January, we have Venus moving out of the wonderful sign of Aquarius and into the spiritual, loving, compassionate, all is one sign of Pisces. It's so nice when we look at each of the signs in astrology from Aries to Pisces. These are a series of developmental changes and steps that occur and happen. And as they go around the solar, as these planets move around the Earth, around the sun, every however long it takes them to do their orbit, there's new ways of new rules of engagement, new understandings of seeing things. So Venus has gone through all the signs now. She's in Pisces. She's seeing things from a more holistic standpoint, a more overall viewpoint that has to do with love and compassion and acceptance. Think of Kuan Yin. It's a really powerful time for good time for, as you can see, she has a crystal ball in her hand. She's wearing a diaphanous gown. Good time for meditation, good time for going within. And that is it for the month of January. If you are interested in either of my books, they're available on Kindle. I have Astrological Mavericks, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, and Astro Theater. Those are the images I used in the book. It breaks down astrology in a nice, visual, easy way for you to see and understand astrology. My books are available on Kindle, Apple, and you can also contact your local bookstore. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be of service. I do readings, talks, and classes and workshops. I'm available. You can reach me at cormichael.com or michael@cormichael.com. Happy New Year's. Blessings to you, your family, and everyone on the planet. May we have a much more enlightened, conscious year than we've had going on. Take care. Thank you so much, and have a great day.